The money blueprint, also known as financial blueprint, is a fundamental concept I learned from the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I define it as the set of beliefs and habits ingrained in my subconscious regarding money, and it's the most determining factor in my financial life. Impact on my financial life. This personal blueprint is what, more than anything else, will determine my economic life. Even if I know everything about marketing, sales, negotiations, or investments, if my money blueprint isn't programmed for success, I'll never have much money. Or if I do get it, I'll lose it easily. My money blueprint acts like an internal financial thermostat. If my thermostat is programmed for thousands of dollars, that's the amount I'll tend to generate. If, for example, it's programmed for $50,000 a year, that's the level my finances will return to, even if I experience an unexpected increase in income or an economic crisis. This explains why some people are destined to be rich, while others seem condemned to scarcity, or why lottery winners often return to their original economic state. In contrast, self-made millionaires, like Donald Trump, if they lose their fortune, they usually recover it quickly because they maintain their millionaire mind. Formation of my money blueprint. My financial blueprint was primarily formed by the programming or information I received in the past, especially during my childhood. The main sources of this programming were my parents, siblings, friends, authority figures, teachers, religious leaders, and the media, as well as the culture I lived in. These teachings became a conditioning that directs my automatic reactions to money throughout my life, unless I intervene to revise them. This conditioning occurred in three main ways. Verbal programming. This refers to what I heard about money, wealth, and rich people in my childhood. Examples include phrases like, "Money is the root of all evil," "Rich people are greedy," "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "Do I look like I'm made of money?" These statements remained in my subconscious and governed my economic life. For example, if I was conditioned to believe that rich people are greedy, I might unconsciously get rid of any excess money so as not to be perceived as bad. Role models. This is about what I saw my parents or guardians do with money. I learned by observing those around me, and often I tend to be identical to one or both of my parents in their financial habits, or I adopted a completely opposite attitude if there was anger or rebellion. For example, I experienced a fluctuating income pattern similar to my father's, who went from being broke to having a lot of money with his construction projects. If my motivation for money comes from unproductive roots like anger, fear, or the need to prove myself, money will never bring me happiness. Specific incidents. These are emotional experiences or specific events related to money that I experienced in childhood that shaped my current beliefs. One example is the woman who associated money with pain after her father had a heart attack during an argument about money, which led her to unconsciously get rid of her wealth. Another example is the author's wife, who learned as a child that men have all the money and women don't have money, which led her to expect money from her husband and to unconsciously get rid of her own. The manifestation process. I've discovered a key formula that determines my reality and wealth. Programming, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. This means that my past programming, childhood influences, gives rise to my thoughts about money, which generate feelings, which in turn drive my actions, and finally, produce my current financial results. How to change my money blueprint. The good news is that by applying simple instructions, I can reprogram my money blueprint for economic success naturally and automatically. To change my financial blueprint, I need 4 key elements. Awareness. You can't change something unless you're aware of its existence. Observing my thoughts and actions allows me to live by truly choosing instead of being directed by past programming. Understanding. Understanding where my way of thinking about money comes from allows me to recognize that it comes from outside of me. Disassociation. Once I realize that this way of thinking isn't me, I can separate from it and decide in the present whether to keep it or discard it, based on who I am today and where I want to go tomorrow. Reconditioning. This involves installing new mental wealth files, which are 17 ways of thinking and acting of rich people that differ from poor and middle-class people. This is achieved through constant repetition of declarations, positive statements, spoken aloud and with emphasis, that manifest an intention of action or being, and taking consistent actions that reinforce these new patterns. I've learned that my financial success isn't based solely on what I know or do in the external world, but on the subconscious programming of my money blueprint. To transform my results, it's crucial to change the roots, my inner world, before expecting to change the fruits, the external results. Action, despite fear or discomfort, is the vital bridge between my inner and outer world, and constant personal growth is the key to expanding my ability to attract and retain wealth.